today, so pretty happy to be out here. All right, so now that I've, opened myself up to you guys, I have some questions for you. So just raise your hands. How many of you guys are completely novices, have never used WordPress before? Okay, good. WordPress intermediates, you kind of know the difference between like a post and a page, but like what the heck is a custom field? Okay, all right, a few of you guys. WordPress experts, developers, admins, okay. All right, cool. So I'm thinking I'm gonna work with this group of people during this presentation. I'll get a little more technical, but obviously stop me if I'm like, talking about classes and objects and weird computer sciencey things. Awesome. And what are you guys looking to get out of this meetup right now? Just, I don't know, someone go. Go ahead.
I want to really understand why I should be using child themes.
Cool.
Yeah, just out on the screw. So once it's set up,
Not to screw it up. Yeah.
Every child theme secret you know.
Okay, yeah.
I set up a child thing for the version 1, and they kept upgrading, and now the newer grades, I get all kinds of weird graphic things on it. And it's been a while since I've messed with it, so I'd like to get a refresh and figure out how to straighten it out.
Cool.
I'm looking for child themes experience because I'm looking to develop my own themes and sell them as passive income.
Cool. Awesome. Thanks, guys. That helps. So just quickly, stuff I'll be going over. What is a theme? I think that's a good starting point. I feel like it's always good to review that. It's kind of like when you watch a show and they give you like, a playback of what happened in the last episode. It's always good to do that. Customizations, so that starts going more into child themes. Why should we even customize, right? And if we have extra time, I'll talk about hooks and filters, and that's the more technical side, but still really good stuff to go over. Cool. And by the way, this is like open, so if anyone has any sort of question or they don't like the way I'm walking around or doing something weird with my hand, like tell me. Cool. Okay. So who can answer this question? What's the theme?
It's a skin.
Okay.
I guess maybe like a set of rules that govern the look and layout of the WordPress site.
Okay. Anyone else? There's an official WordPress definition that you can look up on WordPress.org, but I'm just kind of curious to hear what you guys think. So I feel like all of you guys should be familiar with that screen, right? Under appearance, themes. So this is where, if you have a WordPress site, this is where you go and activate your theme. If you have a child theme, which we'll talk about also, this is where it would show up. You can search, you can add new themes. So, you should be familiar with this thing, with this page. The other thing you should also be even more familiar if you want to do your own theme development is this thing. So I found this, I think this is through WordPress.org. They had this link in the bottom of the page. But I really like this infographic because, you can actually see the website here. There's the sidebar, there's the header, and it gives you an explanation of the different sections of what a theme is. So this is a bit more technical, and you can see the breakdown of what a theme is. Cool. Any questions, concerns? No? All right. Cool. Did I skip a slide? Okay, cool. So now that we know what a theme is, let's look at one. So I'm going to look at the 2015 theme. Has anyone who has used the 2015 theme? Does anyone know what it is? Yep. Do you like it?
No, I absolutely hate it.
Yeah. Why don't
It's
you
just
like
a little
it?
too minimalistic, and for me, for my taste.
Yeah. Anyone else? Thoughts about it? Opinions? Super minimalistic? No? Okay. Anyway, this is the default WordPress themes. There's a 2014, there's a 2013. They release one every year. This one is, they call it the year that it's released. I think that's the pattern. Maybe they'll like mess up one day and call it, 2055 or something like that. So let's look at the folder structure of a theme. So now I'm going to start getting a little more technical. If it gets a little confusing, stop me, and I'll do my best to explain it. So some things to consider. So this, you guys should look at this. This is a folder structure of a theme. And so when you go and download a theme, this is the sort of thing that you're gonna that's gonna be stored on your computer, on your server, wherever. And so when you're thinking about a theme, you should think about these files and what they do and what their function is, because they're gonna heavily impact how your theme behaves, meaning how where the code is for displaying the loop for posts, for displaying a header, for displaying a sidebar, for the footer. And so it's good to know where these things lie. And so when I'm looking at index.php, when I say the themes go to, WordPress has an algorithm that it goes through, meaning when I type in www. I don't know, what's a good website? Google.com. Obviously, Google's running on WordPress, right? Probably not. If Google somehow decided to run on WordPress, then the WordPress algorithm will immediately look for index.php. That's kind of like the first thing it's going to do. And some themes, if you have a theme, then I'm pretty sure you need, it's a required file to have an index.php. And all these other files are actually not necessary. I think, well, that's not true, but like for example, content-link.php is not necessary. But anyway, that's besides the point. I can get into that later. Style.css is really, 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 really important if you're making your own theme, because that's how WordPress knows that your theme exists. There's the top portion of the CSS file, you actually have to write like template name and then the name of the template. And also that's where its styling exists, and so forth. Does anyone know what a CSS file is? Yes? Do you want to say what it is?
A cascading style sheet is basically how the look and feel for a website.
Cool. Functions.php, also really important. I think this is like the data workhorse, meaning that if there's some sort of logic with displaying some part of the theme, or if you're submitting a form, or if there's some sort of data that you're working with, then the code should be in functions.php. And I like to think of it that way. And so I also consider this a pretty important file to think about when you're looking at child themes and things. And then you have the different sections of your theme, right? You have the sidebar, single.php that displays a single post, content that's within the loop, the content of the post. And so I just wanted to highlight these things because it's important to know what they do. And just think about it, just be exposed to it. And every template follows a template hierarchy. Yes. The template hierarchy is important. I'm not going to get into that right now, but you guys should go and read about it. All right. Customizations. All right, why should we customize the site?
Do you really want your site to look like everybody else's?
That's a good point.
It could improve usability. If it did. If everybody's site was different.
Why would I want to customize my site?
Add new features?
Yep. Cool. Why do you think it's such a popular thing that people want to do all the time?
Branding and identity.
Sorry?
Branding and identity.
Yep. I mean, you guys already have better reasons that I have on here. Add custom pictures. I don't know, because it's fun. Why not, right? I'm a hacker, so I like it because why not? All right. The bad and good. I guess the bad is also the ugly, so it's the good, bad / ugly. So this is important. I think someone mentioned. I think maybe it was you. You said you had a child theme or.
Yeah, I had a child theme that I customized. It's not working from newer versions of WordPress.
Okay. Or I don't know if it was you. Maybe someone else said, "Oh, why can't I just go into my theme and just, I really hate this, neon green box over here, but everything else looks great. Why can't I just go in there and get rid of the neon green box?" Well, that's really bad. It's like this, but what happens is when you download a theme, if you're not the theme author, most people aren't their own theme author. Right? So if you have your own WordPress site, you usually go and buy a theme, or you go to the WordPress.org site and you download it from somewhere. And so you are not the theme author. And so the theme author usually has different versions of the theme. So they have version 1.0, and then they're like, oh crap, the footer is there's a really horrible bug on the footer. So I'm gonna update it, and now there's a version 1.1 of the theme, right? And so in the themes page, there's a notification is gonna pop up, and it's gonna say, hey, there's a new version of this theme. And meanwhile, you got rid of that neon green box, but you accidentally took a big chunk of code out of it, or whatever, right? You did some hack, and then you download version 1.1, and oh man, the neon green box is now back. Like all that hard work that you put into getting rid of that horrible neon green box is like now gone. Like all the sweat and blood and tears that you put into that work. So you don't want to touch this. The moral of the story is like we all hate the neon green box. No, you don't want to hack the source code. And so WordPress came up with a cool way so things don't mess up. And they came up with child themes. Yay, child themes. Wait, what? What the heck is a child theme? What, does anyone know what a child theme is? I don't know what a child theme is.
You can think of it as a derivative work with the parent, where you are able to modify or override defaults that the parent theme has created in a safe environment, so that when you update the parent, you don't overwrite your overrides.
Yes.
That you've created.
Pretty much. Did anyone hear that? More or less? Does anyone else want to talk about what they think a child theme is?
It's the backup CSS sheet, or is it more than that?
It's more than that. I don't know if I'd use the word backup. I'd say it's, I'm sorry?
It's like a primary second style sheet.
Yes, yes, to a certain extent. It inherits its parent. Sorry, what's your name?
Ryan.
It's like Ryan said, it inherits its parent style. And it's more than just a style sheet, right? You can add a header, you can add a footer, and that also overrides the parent. But it's important to think about the relationship between the parent and the child, and it's kind of like, yeah.
It's a tool that allows you to use all of the style
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and I think for me, I think it's important to think about the parent-child relationship and what that means. And in computer science, they talk about function contracts. I don't know how many CS people there are here, but that's essentially the relationship between two things, right? And you have your parent theme and you have the child theme. And if you want to develop child themes, it's really, really, really important that you understand all the interactions that go on between them. And so when someone says, oh, there's a parent theme here and the child theme inherits all these things from the parent theme, well, what does that mean, right? Like, what does that mean when something is inherited? And so you should think about, yeah?
I was just going to say, like, an easy way for some people to think about it is one of the primary things that I use in beginning my development for a site is that CSS goes into like a custom CSS box. Any PHP changes go into a child theme. So footer at the bottom that says developed by WordPress, hosted by WordPress, that can change using child theme. And anything where there's those little bits where you have to go into a PHP file, you should be doing that in the child theme.
Cool. All right, you're doing all the work for me. Thank you. Cool. So how are we feeling about the definitions of the child theme? Pretty good. All right. Cool. All right. So here's the official definition. Inherits the functionality and styling of another theme called the parent theme. They are the recommended way of modifying an existing theme. Also, I highly recommend you guys download these slides and look at the links that I have on here. Yeah. Cool. So let's look at a child theme. Let's go for it. Let's talk. So before we looked at a directory of a theme. So let's look at a directory of a child theme. I actually don't have a screenshot for this, but the two important things are the style.css file and the functions.php, and that's how you start. That's the starting point for a child theme. Okay, cool. Live demo time. This is where things get scary for me. Okay, cool. So I have this, your favorite 2015 theme. And would it help people? So I have this child theme and I already made some customizations to it and it's ready to go. Would you guys want to just start from scratch? I'm assuming. Okay, cool.
Can you show us how to make a child theme from that?
Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Mac users, PC users. Mac, okay.
You're screwed.
I know.
Okay, cool. So I have, are people familiar with MAMP or like local server installs and things like this? Okay. So I have, I'm just going to go to the directory of where my child theme is, or where, not the child theme, but the theme that I want to modify, right? Actually, I think it's here. All right. Can everyone see that okay? It's really small? Okay. Oops. Is that better? Is that good? Cool. Okay, so I have the child theme here that I already made, but I'm just going to delete all of it. Whoops.
You're gonna update that in GitHub?
I'll download it from GitHub eventually, but I mean all that stuff is on GitHub right now, so. Okay, cool. So I have my 2015, and you know what? I'll even delete the directory. Whoa. Surround sound. Okay, cool. So the convention is you want to call it the name of the parent with a dash child. That's what they recommend on the WordPress.org site, but you can actually call it whatever you want. Like I call it 2510 instead of 2015. So cool. And so the two files that are important for you to start are, what are the two files that I talked about in the last slide? Does anyone remember? What? CSS and what? Okay, cool. So I'm going to make those here.
So you wouldn't copy, you would just create new ones?
No, I would copy. I'm going to do that now.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
I was like,
Okay, so yeah, what I would do, you bring up a good point. The starting point is I would copy and paste the functions.php and style.css, but you would have to go into the functions.php and style.css first, right? Like I'd go in there and check it out and see what's in there. The functions.php I would actually leave blank unless you need to add something more to it, because then you have double the function definitions, right? And with the style.css I would also actually kind of leave blank. The way I would approach it is, so I guess I'm like giving you really horrible answers right now, because I was like at first, yeah, copy it. Now I'm like, no, don't copy it.
well, like if you're working in Dreamweaver, you could open it, clear it out, and save as, or
Yeah,
You just need those file names.
right.
you need those file names, but I would also copy, so let's just do it. Okay, so the part that I would check out is style.css.
So you're saying you're putting that just on general principle, you always put a blank functions file in the track?
I would put a blank I would start with a blank functions file.
I mean, if you don't, unless you make any changes, why would you put it? Is there a purpose for the blank in there?
I'm sorry?
Well, is there a purpose in the child thing, unless you change something in the functions file, is there a reason just to have the blank there?
Yeah, because you have now double function definitions, right? So what WordPress is going to do is it's going to look at the parent theme and it's going to go to the functions.php, and then it's going to see like, oh, there are 10 functions or 10 pieces of code that have been defined here, and then it's going to go to your child theme, and then it's going to have, if you have the exact same copy, then it's going to look there. I mean, it's going to overwrite it. There's nothing wrong with doing that.
Oh, no, I'm just saying, technically in a child thing, you don't need the style. There's no reason to leave like a function. Unless you're making a change, there's no reason to have that in a child.
So if you don't have any change in the functions, then you don't need the functions file in the child.
It's still wrong without function.
Does it still run without functions? I think so. I looked into this recently, and I remember when I did my first style theme, I agree with you. You only needed the style.css. They recently updated the WordPress.org article, and they now require you to have the functions.php in there for a specific reason, and I'll show you. But let's talk about.
Is that pretty recent?
I think it's pretty recent. So before, I'll get into it. Okay. So let's first look at the style.css, and then we'll go to the functions.php. Cool? All right.
Could you zoom in again?
Yeah. Or actually, I'll just let's look at the resolution. I don't know. I can't work this right now. Okay, so the part that I'm looking at is this. And so I'm going to copy this from the original parent into the style CSS of my child theme. And the field that you should be concerned with, oh, it's not in here, but let's do this. I'm going to copy it. Cool. So, is everyone following what I'm doing?
Okay, so
We can't see it.
Oh. So all I did is I just went into the directory and I created a style.css. That's all I did. In my child theme.
So it's blank right now.
It's blank right now, exactly. And so I now have two style.css's. The bottom one is the parent one, the top one is the new one that I just created in the child theme. And I'm going to take this header information and copy and paste it. And I'm going to call it 2015 child, and I'm pretty sure it needs a template name for the child theme. So I think that's the main difference between, as far as the style sheet goes, that's the main difference between the parent and the child theme.
Wait, what did it say?
So I added this.
I can't read.
Right? Actually, to keep this consistent.
Isn't the template name just the thing you're basing it off of?
You have to be the child.
Yes, you're right.
So you name it the original.
Yeah, you got it. So I messed up, and thank you, Patrick, for picking up on that. The template name is the parent theme name. So WordPress is going to go in here and it's going to look for this, and it's going to say, "Yo, give me your parent name," and it's going to come in here and it's going to look, and it's going to find this value, and it's going to look in its memory and it's going to say, "Where is the 2015 parent theme?" And then it's going to find that, and then it's going to use that as the parent theme. So yes, that's very important. Thank you for bringing that up. Cool. And so this is the starting point. You start with the style.css, and now WordPress should recognize that this thing exists. So let's check it out. Cool. There it is. Like, should. No? Okay. The following theme, okay, are incomplete. Template is missing. Okay, so I think this is the functions.php part that, that person was talking about. I'm sorry, what's her name? Corinda? Yes. So this is the part where, this is the new part where you need the functions.php. Okay, cool. I'm going to go to my GitHub and cheat.
And you know, a good place to look things up is in the codex. In fact, reading the codex is always a good idea.
Yeah. Cool. I was trying to get away from the codex just because it might.
Well, just I mean, it actually lays it out in there.
Yep.
Is it wrong to simply copy the generated original file into the child folder and then just change the directory location of where the theme is?
The directory location of
So it's looking for the theme, right?
the child theme?
Right. If you go in, if you just copy those two main files, the index,
Yep.
PHP files into the child directory, then if you go in and just enter the PHP file, you edit that, The
Style.css?
Yeah, just change.
Yeah, no, you can definitely do that. You can definitely do that, but I like to work with a blank slate, right? And then, because it already has all of the parent stuff, and with a blank slate, you can methodically go in and tweak exactly what you want. And it's a little overbearing, right, if you go in and copy the original one, because there's all this stuff in there from the original theme that might, you're like, oh man, where do I start? Yep.
So essentially what you're saying is like the parent theme is sitting here with all this information.
Yep.
The child theme is what you're adding in with any specific tweaks you want.
You got it.
As opposed to
Exactly.
actually just recreating the original theme.
Yes, exactly, you got it. And it's less maintenance, right? Like if you copy and paste the original files and then you start making modifications, the style.css file could be 1,000 lines and you need to remember where those modifications are, right? Whereas if you start with a blank style.css, all of the specific modifications that you've ever made are now there.
I left out if you just delete the bottom, so just the header part, and just speeding it up. But if we went in right underneath the header, just wipe all that CSS out.
You can do, yeah, I mean, yep, you can do that too.
That's coming out.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So this is, you guys should definitely read up on this. This is the codex. This is where everything is laid out. So, this is like the holy Bible of WordPress. Okay, cool. So this is important as well. Why isn't it moving? All right, so it lays it out for you right here. It says, final step is to include the parent child theme style sheets. Where is it? Here it is. The second sentence. The correct method of including the parent theme style sheet is to add WP and Q scripts action and use WP and Q style in your child themes functions.php. So to answer your question, you now do need both, or else it's going to be like, I don't know what's going on.
Is there a problem with just, because I've always done the add import.
Yep, they've changed it recently.
But what does it give you? I mean, why is this better than just doing an add import on the CSS?
There's issues with responsiveness, like certain, there's issues with most CSS style sheets at importing other CSS style sheets. It's just not the best way to load CSS.
Do you end up hitting selector limits?
I thought it had something to do with responsive and what do you call it, where it's like different sizes. Like you can't, if you import a style sheet, you can't do a mobile.
Oh, at media? Or
exactly.
media?
Like there's
Media
some
query.
issue with responsive
Yeah,
and
'cause
import.
I do media queries on mine, and I use the add import.
I forget what the issue is. That I know there's some.
Okay, just curious.
My guess is it probably has something to do too with, this is, I mean, I've got to go read this a little more thoroughly myself. It probably has something to do with how the order of which things are loaded, just making sure that like if the parent didn't do it quite right, or there's something funky in there, it's probably, my guess is, it also has something to do with the order.
Yes.
Things are being loaded too, so that it goes in the right order. Because I've had problems with that before. I mean, not recently, but I've had problems with that before. It's not loaded in the right order.
I think also, I think a better advantage of doing it this way is that the WP and Q scripts is an action. So as a developer, you know exactly when things are being like enqueued to like a style sheet or, yep.
There may also be punishments in terms of the new Google SEO algorithms in terms of responsive layouts and the order in which they're loaded.
Cool. I don't know anything about SEO. Search engine.
Optimization.
Yes.
You know one thing.
I thought it was like search engine. No. Okay, cool. How's everyone doing? Is everyone still awake? Do you guys want to like stretch out or do something fun? Yeah.
Can you explain what you mean by this?
Yeah, so this piece of code right here, this function, WP and Q style, it essentially adds your CSS file to your website. So you go into your functions.php folder and you actually add in this function, and it'll add your CSS file to the header of your website automatically. So in the HTML, you don't actually have to type in like style source style.css, right? This function does it for you automatically. And so you can actually enqueue multiple styles. You don't have to just do style.css. You can have custom.css or main.css or whatever. You can have multiple W and Q style functions that'll do that for you.
And how would that look on there? Would it just be is that the comma? Sorry, because I think that's where I've gone wrong before, is that all the style sheets didn't get hooked up properly.
Okay.
And so like you're saying you can have multiple style sheets
Yep.
hooking up in there.
Each one will get its own line.
Each one will get its own line. And I think there's a parameter for this particular function that allows you to define dependencies. So if you want one to appear before another, then I think, I don't remember which parameter it is, but you can tell it, I am dependent on custom-style or something else, right? You give it a slug name. All right. Everyone cool? Awesome. You guys know that song, the Lego song?
Everything is awesome.
Okay, cool, guys. Let's continue. So I'm gonna zoom in pan, and I'm gonna create my functions.php because that's what the WordPress Bible tells me to do. Functions. Now I have it there. And I'm going to go back to the codex and essentially copy this stuff right here.
So which section of the codex is that?
It is under child themes.
Is that
So,
the enqueue?
sorry?
Is that the enqueuing code?
Yeah, I think if I click on, boom, how to create a child theme. Sorry that this is so small. I'm gonna put some effort into trying to figure this out right now.
It's in your slides.
It's in my slides? Okay, it's in the slides. Does anyone know how to make the resolution better? I feel like it's in here somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, scaled? Okay. Anyway, I don't know. Technology's getting too complicated. Whoops. And don't forget your PHP. I guess you don't need a closing one anymore, do you?
Question.
Why is-
I was
Sorry,
going to
go ahead.
ask, I've seen it without and with it. Is that a new thing with PHP that you don't have to close them?
It's old.
Okay.
It's just best practice.
Okay. Made sense to me as to why you would
I
want.
remember reading up on why you don't need a closing tag anymore at some point, and then I forgot. And then I just don't put the closing tag there anymore. But anyway. Cool, so let's go back. So I saved that, and I'm gonna go back to my awesome WordPress site. And I'm gonna refresh, and hopefully, so you guys see this part right here, right? It says broken themes. And the reason why it thinks it's broken is because I didn't have that piece of code in functions.php. So hopefully now it'll work. Nope. I see it. All right, time to go to my GitHub. In the
in the header code for CSS, it puts in the URI of the template.
Thank you.
So the second line, that.
I don't know if that.
That's not required.
Yeah. Template. Okay, here it is. And okay, so I like super messed up, guys, but it's okay. You can always fix things. So this is where I messed up. I don't know if you guys can see it, but I put template name. It should be just template, and the name should be the slug, or the folder name of, not the slug, the folder name of where the parent theme is. So I just completely botched that up, and I'm sorry about that. Cool.
Yay.
There it is. Cool. But we haven't like done anything yet. Oh man, I feel so demoralized. What's that? You're right. We did. We created
Conception!
Yes. It's conceptual now, you know. We could go to so many places. Do so many things. Okay, so what do you guys want to do? I think how do we want to what's that? Have some chili? You want to take a chili break? Guacamole? I'm super happy to do that. Yeah, let's take a quick like stretch 2-minute break.
It's hot.
That was like so hard. What's that?
Share the modification. Yeah, some are. They sell home and they also sell shop. Yeah, it's a lot of work.